There once was a man who decided that he was going to go move to New York and start selling financial services. So he started to sell and he tried and he came back home to his hometown and one of his friends asked him, "Hey, how have sales been going for you?" And he said, "Oh, not so good. I should have never learned it." Now, you know, as a salesperson, it is impossible to learn sales in just 2 weeks. Does anybody agree with me there? Anybody? Okay, yeah. It is a lifelong skill. It is impossible to master. You are always getting better. So how many of you are owners of your company? Okay. Raise them high. Let me see. Okay, how many of you are leaders of a sales team? Real high. Okay, how many of you are just on a sales team? Awesome. Well, I'm super proud of you guys for being here because you clearly, you own a business or you're in a business and you are making sales more than likely, and so you're here learning those foundational skills and getting them even better. So my name is Macy McNeely. This is Katherine Schubert, and that's Lloyd A. And Lloyd's actually my dad, and he started guide culture training over 30 years ago. And he taught Kat and I, and I'm so excited to introduce you to Lloyd A.
Yeah, she mentioned a word there. She said it's the skill. It's a skill. So many people think that sales is something that's just innate, that you just know how to do, but it's a skill that can be developed. A good example would be the latest UGA football quarterback, Stetson Bennett. I researched him a little bit coming into here because I knew he's had a couple of good games. And back in the preseason, he was not in the mix. He was not even mentioned on any of the things that I could find. I Googled it and everything. And then, as it turns out, he came to Georgia. He played AAA football in high school. He came to Georgia. He was redshirted. Went to a junior high for a couple of years. Junior college for a couple of years, and played. Came back to Georgia, played. In that freshman year, or maybe even the second time around, he was on the scout team. And he actually was awarded a top player on the scout team. And then he found his way into this starting position. He got lucky, didn't he? Opportunity plus preparation met. He got lucky. But the thing that he had was a lot of reps. A lot of reps. He built his skill, he built his talent over time, he built his fundamentals, and he got lucky, got the right place at the right time, and he was ready for it. Look at Tom Brady. Does anybody talk about his great skills, or do we talk about his work ethic to get to where he is? And that's when we say sales. We know that all businesses have marketing and sales. Those are two critical components of anything. Even if you're in a PTA, you need marketing and sales. Even if you're a Toastmasters, if you're in any group, or if you're in any business, you need marketing and sales. And this sales fundamental skill can be streamlined very quickly, and it can change the trajectory of anyone's life, of anyone's business. So we're here to teach people how to grow this fundamental skill very quickly, and the people who are really have been around the block and can do this, and you're good at it, you're doing training all the time. You're learning new things all the time. So it fits you as well because you're going to learn some new information. So with that being said, we're going to teach a little mini session of our training today, kind of a shortened version, and it's on what we call handling doubts. And I'm going to turn this over to Kat to talk about that.
Handling doubts is a fundamental skill, similarly to football, right? You kind of have to have it in place before you can move forward with a conversation or with a difficult customer. Now, before we go further, be honest, who has dealt with a difficult customer ever? Gotten a concern, who has gotten the objection of, I just don't have any money. I don't have the money right now. Who's gotten that objection? I don't have time. Have you ever been a leader of people and this person said, I can't, they just keep telling me no. Yeah, I see. Okay, you're with me. That is an objection, okay? And so I know that there is a little bit of tension with that, and I would like to have a little therapy session together, okay? So before we go further, I would like everyone to repeat after me. I love concerns. That was good. That was better than I thought it would be. No, I didn't totally believe you because it's really going to be the attitude and mindset we go into concerns that's going to make all the difference. Okay, so we're going to really believe it when we say it this time and say, I love concerns. I love concerns. I love it. Today, you're going to learn the guide culture proven process of how to handle pretty much any concern, doubt, or objection, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and again, it is that attitude. First thing we're going to cover is the attitude around objections. Next, we're going to talk about how to have a customer and listener-centered message. And then finally, we're going to cover that technical skill of how to handle objections. Now, before we go further, we got to talk about these 3 things that you really need to have in your back pocket at all times if you want to handle objections well. Now, I'm talking a lot about mindset because it is how you go into any conversation with the mindset of, hey, I really want to be believable here. I want them to trust me. I want them to like me. I want them to know that I am on their team. Do you guys want to feel that way? Like, do you want your customers to see you that way? That's so important because did you know business moves at the speed of trust? And so we're trying to build trust really, really quickly. And so to be believable and have the attitude of, hey, I value their trust, let's do this, okay? You want to do 3 things in order to be believable and earn that trust. First is to understate. Now, the opposite of this is overstating. And overstating sounds like, oh, it works every time. Oh, if you join my sales team, oh, you'll make 6 figures like in the first year. That's overstating because can you promise that? Can you prove that in a court case? No, you really can't. So instead of doing that, you understate by saying, hey, I can't promise you that this is going to work every time. What I can do is ensure you that you will have systems to set you up for success within the first 90 days. You see how it's more believable? That sets you up to understate and over-deliver. Who has learned that in sales? It is all about over-delivering. That is actually why salespeople have a bad reputation sometimes, is because it's all talk and not backing it up. So we're always trying to back it up around here. The next thing you want to do is be specific. So the opposite of being specific is being super general. So let's talk about customer service. Hey, we have the best customer service. We have great customer service. Person's like, okay, can you be more specific, please? So the opposite of that is to be specific. Sounds like this. You can expect a great customer experience. You will have a 24/7 hotline with a rep with your account ready to go at all times. See how there's like some proof to back up what you said? Which leads me perfectly into evidence. There needs to be evidence to back up any claim that you make or any objection you're trying to handle, because they need, honestly, if you're getting a doubt to begin with, it means that they don't believe you. Whether it's subconscious or conscious, they just simply don't believe you, so you really need to prove yourself. And think about a court case. Would you ever walk into a court case and say, oh, it's awesome, it's the best, believe me? That just doesn't make sense. So when you bring evidence, that's how you win. So evidence in the customer experience example would sound like this. You can expect great customer experience. In fact, just last week, a woman in your same industry told us that because of the 24/7 hotline, she increased her team's responsiveness by 30%. Something that's like, oh wow, like that's, you can't make that up. That sounds, except I just did. But you know, there is a way that you can be really specific and make the people think, oh wow, I'm really on your team here. Now, no matter how good you are at these things, or you know, whatever, people are still going to tell you no. You're still going to get difficult customers. And so the most important thing is to maintain the right attitude toward the person. Macy's about to talk about this a little bit more, toward the objection and the objector. Has anyone ever gotten just a silly objection? It's silly, but you know you need to maintain the right attitude and posture of thankfulness toward them. Because when you can think that you're thankful, your eyes and your heart will shift and leave a lasting impression. And you know, a current relationship is future business potentially, so maintaining that relationship, and that leads us really great into the next point, which is how to make a great first impression.
Yeah, that first impression is absolutely critical, beginning in that friendly way. I mean, the best analogy I have is a dog. I mean, just like so happy to see you no matter what. That is really how we have to be when you walk into a conversation, especially if you know someone is going to come at you with an objection. I mean, think about it. You know someone is going to tell you, oh, gosh, I just don't have time. You might feel a little defensive. We got to separate the objection and the objecture. And a great way to begin in a friendly way is to build rapport. How many of you have learned about rapport before? I need to see the hands. I really need to. This is like a thing for us, okay? So a lot of times people say, hey, the best way to build rapport is to find some points of agreement, right? So we're going to do a little demo on what you might think is rapport, but it's really not. And then we're going to do a demo on what is rapport, okay? Hey, Kat.
Hey, Macy.
It's so good to see you. Oh my gosh, we're in Athens. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
And now I know you went to UGA.
I did.
And you have season tickets, right?
I did, yeah, like second deck, somewhere on the 50, something like
Oh
that.
my gosh, we have season tickets too.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you.
Yes. Now, where do you tailgate?
Over the railroad track.
Oh,
something
wow,
like that.
that's far. Okay, so we are actually right at Tate.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what year did you graduate?
2015.
Oh, I graduated in 2014.
Okay, yeah, I remember seeing you.
Yeah, so I'm 1 year before you. Okay,
Yeah.
so what was your major?
Nutrition.
Oh, mine was family and consumer sciences. That's so
Oh, yeah, we're
cool.
fine.
Hey, Macy, please stop. Please stop. Did you guys notice that Macy, although she thought she was building rapport, was really just one-upping everything she did? She was making it all about her. She was being better than Kat. So let's try this again. Let's do this a different way, Macy.
Let's
See if
try.
we can build better rapport.
Hey, Kat.
Hey, Macy.
So good to see you. Don't you just love being in Athens, Georgia?
I mean, nothing better than fall and Athens.
Football, right?
Football.
Now, do you guys have season tickets this year?
We do. They're somewhere on the 50,
Oh
second
my
deck.
gosh, that's amazing. Now, you guys usually go to almost every game, right?
We try to, yeah.
Wow, that is so awesome. And you, if I remember correctly, I know we haven't talked in a while, you graduated with a nutrition degree, right?
I did. Yeah,
oh my
I
gosh.
did.
And you had like all these connections with the football team?
I did. You remember so well.
I
Yeah,
do.
I worked with the football team.
Oh my gosh. Now, what's the story of that? How did you end up working with the football team?
Well, I was an intern through my nutrition program and ended up, making shakes for them, doing Gatorades, giving them gummies, whatever they needed, and eventually I ended up on the field.
I have never heard of anybody else being able to do that.
It was actually one season thing.
Wow. Now, what was your favorite memory of UGA working with the football
Such
team?
a good question.
Yeah.
I actually, Auburn came here one year, and it was a night game, and my pastor is actually an Auburn fan, don't know why, but he is, and he ended up being on the field too, and I got to meet him for the first
Wow,
time.
that is so cool, Kat. You should be really proud of yourself.
Thanks so much.
Now, you see the difference here. Macy, instead of being interested in herself, became interested in Katherine.
Mm-hmm.
And she went deeper into the conversation, and she learned more about Katherine.
Mm-hmm.
In sales, we need to know about our people. They don't need to know about us.
Right.
And Katherine feels heard. She feels important, and she thinks Macy is one of the best communicators on the field right now because of her interest in her.
Yeah, you know what's really cool is I know a lot of times we just want to be kind of memorable, right? And so you feel like you just want to be like, oh, me too, when really the best way to be memorable is to only talk about them. So I challenge you the rest of the day today, just don't even say I. Just don't even say it. Don't even talk about you. Just ask more about them. And guess what? As a salesperson, we all know we are always on guard for, hey, is this a prospect? Is this somebody that I can help? How would you ever know if they're a prospect if all you're doing is telling all about you? So build rapport, and guys, you're by asking specific questions, you're actually creating those points of agreement even more. So building rapport is one of the most incredible ways when you do it right. It's going to be game changing for your relationships. And also this mood meter. Our mood meter, the way we kind of describe it is walk into a room, feel the vibe, and be just a little bit better, a little bit happier. Another way to think about this is, we're really excited about sales training. Okay, we think it's the coolest thing ever, but most people don't. Right? So when we're with somebody, we might not be super enthusiastic about sales training, but we'll just be a little bit more enthusiastic than they are. Okay, are y'all ready to get into the actual technique of handling doubts? Yeah? So this is our signature guide method. If I could teach you every single technique here, I would. It's my favorite thing to teach, but we can't. What we can do is teach you how to handle doubts. But real quick, our technique is guide, G-U-I-D-E, get attention, keeping people very curious, increasing the value, dreaming big, which is helping people visualize, and lastly, the close, which is what we call expand lives. But the reason handling doubts is over to the side is because doubts come all the time, right? Sometimes people open up, they walk into a store and they're like, hey, this is too expensive. And you don't even really know them yet. You kind of have to back up, understand what's going on, get to the root. So that's why it's over to this side. And that's what we're going to teach you right now. Y'all feeling good? Yeah? Okay, awesome. So let's talk about having the right attitude toward both the objection and the objector. Okay, someone who doesn't throw doubts out or objections out, they're not interested. What's your name? Laura? Philip? What? Ryan, okay. Laura, let's say we're at the farmer's market, okay? You sell, what do you want to sell, Laura? Ooh! I love a pumpkin. Okay, Laura sells pumpkins. What do you sell? How about muffins? And you sell mangoes. Amazing. Okay, I see Laura's pumpkins. I'm like, okay, cool. I see the mangoes. I'm like, okay, cool. But I come to the muffins, and I'm like, hey, how much sugar is in this? Hey, where's the nutrition facts? Where was this made? Those are objections. And the fact that I'm even asking these questions means I'm interested. And so to not be afraid of objections, but to be like wide open, because you actually have the chance to build the value to me. I'm not even talking to the mango guy. You didn't even have the chance to talk to me about it. So sad, right? So be so excited to hear them all. Be so excited. Don't shy away from them. Be eager to hear them, because I like to compare objections like mushrooms. If they're in the dark, they spread. They get bigger than they ever needed to be. But when they're in the light, they go away. So we have to look for them, dig them out, don't avoid them. If you're scared of talking about money, they're going to be scared of talking about money, and you got to be so confident in what you have to offer. We separate the objection from the objector. Remember that chemistry is so important. I know that it can be really tempting. You feel a little defensive of like, you don't know that my muffins are homemade? But really, whose fault is that they don't know? It's your fault, Philip. You got to tell them. You got to build the value. It's not their fault that they don't know. And so we separate the objection. You love me, but you're like, hey, I'm going to handle the concern that's aside from you, Macy, as the person. We want to always act as if the issue is real, even if it isn't. How many of you have gotten an objection and you're like someone who has 3 houses? They're like, yeah, I just can't afford that. And you're like, yes, you can, right? I know you can. We act as if it is real, and we keep that professional role. Do y'all know the difference between empathy and sympathy? Empathy is that you feel it, you kind of understand where they're coming from, but it's not with emotion. So sometimes we'll see a lot. Come be my prop, Kat. Tell me you don't have any money.
I just cannot afford this.
Oh my gosh, I know. It's just, life is so hard, and the coronavirus and my job. It literally, when you wallow with them, you're agreeing with them and making it bigger with it, right? You're exacerbating it when really you can kind of tone it down. So we want to have empathy, not sympathy. We do not wallow with people. We are a professional counselor. We understand where they're coming from, and we move forward. We want to always know why the doubt was raised. So when someone asks you a question, guess what the best way to answer it is? With a question! And the question is, why do you ask? Why do you ask? In fact, just this morning, my husband keeps asking me what we're doing this weekend. And I'm just like, hey, why do you ask? He said, well, I really want to watch the Georgia game at 3:30 on Saturday. And that way I can answer very specifically and say, hey, we will for sure be able to watch the Georgia game at 3:30. Another example is of my mom. I just love her so much. She was looking at a lamp online, a lamp for her desk, and I actually had already purchased the lamp. And I was kind of rushing out the door. I had to go, and she was like, Macy, how long is the cord to this lamp? And, part of me is kind of like every cord is like the same, right? What kind of question is that? But in my heart, I said, okay, hey, Mom, it's a great question. Why do you ask? She said, well, I'm going to put it on my desk. I want to make sure the cord isn't all bunched up. And I was able to answer intentionally and say, hey, Mom, the cord is the perfect size for that. You're going to be just fine. So when you ask why someone asks, You can answer very specifically. You can know where it's coming from, get to the root, and they feel heard. They feel like that you care. I'm actually car shopping right now, and all I want is for someone to sell to me. Like, I want the sales pitch, and no one's selling to me. And I'm at the point where I'm like, hey, does this have 3 seats? The reason I ask is this. I just tell them why I ask, because I just want them to sell to me. So has anybody experienced that where you're like, I need your help, and he's not helping me? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's a thing. Anyway, we also ask, why do you ask? And also, we never want to guess at the answer. We work with a lot of students, and we do something called lab calls. And we can tell from a mile away when somebody is guessing at the answer. You can feel it, and I instantly lose trust. So we always want to know what we're talking about before we answer. Okay, here is our method. Guys, we're going to do a lot of examples. At the end, we're also going to give you the chance to get all of this information, so don't stress too much about taking notes, okay? Okay, so let's start with the cushion. Remember, we don't wallow with them. We do have empathy with them. So the cushion is simply, I understand. I understand. And then we find the point of agreement, which is not the same thing as agreeing with somebody. So will somebody throw me out a concern or a doubt they usually get? Philip, give me a doubt. Gosh, Philip, I get it. I also watch my budget. I'm not agreeing that the fees are high, but I'm agreeing the budget is important. Ryan, give me a doubt.
It's on my list right now.
Oh, I get it. I really like to make sure my priorities are right as well. Want to give me one?
I don't have time.
Oh my gosh, I understand. I am very cautious of my time also. Do you see how that's not the same as agreeing with them? Finding that point of agreement and then asking why for a little bit more clarity. Laura, I totally get it. I also value my time. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you feel that way? You don't have to answer. But those 3 steps right there, you're positioning yourself as a counselor, as really trying to understand and get to the root of what's going on.
Yeah, and then there are also more ways to handle an objection than maybe you've ever heard before. We're actually going to give examples of 5 actually examples. So you can reverse and make time the very reason why they need to move forward. You're reversing it on them to be the very reason. You can explain, because sometimes people just only think things through, like the fees. They don't understand the fees like you do. Hey, let me explain. That might be what you need to do. Or maybe they say, hey, I've heard this is $2,000. You say, I admit, it is an investment. You can admit something's true without feeling guilty that your prices are a certain way. Or sometimes you need to deny what something is. So maybe someone just flat out says it's false. Hey, I heard what you do is fraudulent. I heard y'all are frauds. I understand. I too want to make sure I protect myself. That is just not true. Right, so you can, with the professionality, say no. But sometimes people come out and say, that's not true. And that's not very soft or professional. So cushioning goes a long way here. And then smoking out is really when someone just keeps throwing out random objections left and right. And so you just really need to get to the root of what's happening and just flesh out whatever's in their head. And you also need to determine when is the appropriate time to handle. So sometimes, maybe in like FAQs, or if you have a website that people go to, you can handle common objections ahead of time with, honestly, the same exact method. Hey, we get that you're wondering. Let us explain how our fees work. It's there so that you can handle it ahead of time. Sometimes you have to wait for later. Has anyone ever been in a meeting and someone just throws out something like a wrench in the meeting and you're like, I can't handle this now. We're like trying to stay on track. Maybe you handle an objection with a teammate later, for example. Sometimes you can handle it now. If you're in a one-on-one with a client, you can handle that objection now, totally appropriate. And sometimes it's a person who is not a prospect at all and you never handle it. It's just not going to work out and you never handle the objection. All those are fine. Now, once you've handled an objection, it's like, now what? What do you do? How do you move forward? So the whole point of an objection is to be able to maintain the relationship and still move forward with the sale or the conversation. So we call it a confidence sequence where you restate the value of what they're going to get after you've handled the objection. There's also a trial close. Does anyone use trial closes as a technique? where you say, hey, in your opinion, if you were to move forward, would you do this or this? You kind of just see where they're at based on how you answered the objection. And then again, like Macy said, asking why for clarity. And then Lloyd's going to talk a little bit about what types of objections there are, because not all objections are equal. Some are totally hopeless, while some are just half thought out, and some are very, very genuine.
Okay, there are different types of objections, and we have to take them all seriously. We have to deal with them. But if we understand, it helps us to get to the genuine, which is what we're trying to do. If you look at the chart, the hopeless, if it's hopeless, it is hopeless. Not everyone is a prospect. And once you realize it's hopeless, what do we have to do as salespeople? We have to save our time and move to a better opportunity. So if you recognize it's hopeless, that's okay. Maintain the relationship. It could be future business. You may get a referral out of it. But it's okay to understand something is hopeless sometimes. If somebody really doesn't have the money, then they don't have the money. That's a hopeless situation. And then you get into these other ones that lead up to genuine. It could be minor, a half thought out. Some people call that half baked, or biased. And like a minor, like somebody would say, I'm too busy. Well, that could be just, I want to have some conversation. I don't really know what to say, so I'm going to say that. Or it could be, I don't think it's worth my time. Then that's more than a minor, that's more genuine, because they don't see the value in it. But sometimes they're just minor, and you deal with it and get past it. And sometimes they can be like half thought out. Maybe they've done a little Google search and they know a little bit, but not all the information. I faced that. I went to the doctor a couple of years ago, and I'd been researching my thing, and I wanted to tell him all about my diagnosis. And he straightened me out pretty quick, because mine was about half the information I needed, and he had all of it. And that happens sometimes. Now, sometimes if you have an expert buyer, somebody thinks they're kind of an expert and they want to be the expert with you, that's a good sign. That's a buying signal. So you want to be able to massage that in a good way. And now the bias, someone who's prejudiced, those are dangerous. Those are deep-seated, deep-rooted feelings. You have to be careful with those and handle them the right way. And you respect them, and you don't try to completely go against them, because you start losing rapport. You have to massage that in this human relations way to get past that and help them see different ways of looking at that. Then if we can get to the genuine, then we know how to handle it. We kind of like, and we're getting ready to go through some samples, some role play of handling these 4 or 5 different things.
So y'all are gonna practice all of this too. So y'all are gonna walk away with having kind of like a doubt script almost that you can go use right when you walk out the door. Mm-hmm. We're gonna do this off the cuff because we just do it better that way, but we have them written down as examples as well.
Yep. Macy, I love the idea of guide culture. I can't afford it right now.
Yeah, Kat, I get it. I really want to make sure I'm investing in the right thing too. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you feel that way?
So, I have my own business now.
Sure.
And it's going so well, by the way.
Oh, good.
I just am trying to invest in the right things to move my business forward. Just spending in the right places.
Sure. Well, Kat, that is the very reason that you should invest in guide culture. Guide culture gives you skills that you can walk away immediately with and start making more money. In fact, just last month, we had a student that finished the first session of guide culture and closed a $36,000 sale. Now, that's business building, don't you think?
I do think so. That's awesome.
Okay, now in this case, this was the basic reverse, and we like the reverse. We use it a lot. It's just taking the other side of the position. See, she couldn't afford it. She said, well, that's the very reason you should do it. It's going to bring you value where it's worth more than what you're paying. She reversed it and started to get her thinking of a different way of looking at that.
Yeah.
Now, we'll have some other techniques behind there that we'd have to teach, that we don't have time to teach now, the way she finished that, but that's the basic reverse.
Yeah. All right, this is explain.
Macy, I'm going to take guide culture one day.
Okay,
I
cool.
just can't afford it right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's what I need right now.
Can you tell me a little bit more about why you feel like it's more down the line for you?
So, I'm trying to grow my audience.
Yeah.
And so I really think I need Instagram training.
Sure.
To get myself out there, and then I'll insert the skills when I have, people.
Sure. Kat, I totally understand. I want to make sure that I'm focusing on the right things as well. Let me explain. A lot of times people look to social media to grow without the ability to convert them, which could be very dangerous. Guide culture is going to give you the sales skills to not only grow your audience, but also be able to convert them once you have them. Now, having those skills to turn that hard work in growing your audience into business growth is really what you want, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I want.
Awesome.
Yeah, and as she explained, if you'll notice, Macy is maintaining this professional demeanor through this whole process. She maintains the professionalism, keeping control of the situation, and she knows the words to use and how to move to the next thing. She's asking questions and she's doing a lot of the talking, but she's maintaining control with professionalism and the skill of moving through these processes.
Yeah, another thing to point out there is I got clarity before I found the point of agreement. I didn't understand where she was coming from yet, so I couldn't find the point of agreement at that point.
I'd only have thought it out.
Yeah. All right, this is admit.
Macy, I have guide culture on my vision board for
Awesome.
next year.
Okay.
So it's not in the budget right now.
Sure. Can you tell me a little bit more about why it's a 2021 thing for you?
You know, it's just, I've heard it's like the same price as my mortgage, and I can't.
Kat, I get it. I also want to be really, really wise in what I invest in. I admit this is an investment. And it is proven that high performers, this is what sets them apart, is taking risks. In fact, Warren Buffett says the number one thing that entrepreneurs have that make it is the ability to take a risk. And I know you're a high performer entrepreneur, aren't you?
I like to think so.
Yeah, you are.
Now, maybe you haven't done the trial close yet. Maybe
I haven't. I'll do it my next time.
Another thing to notice is that, of course, the first three steps are always the same. You know, the build rapport, cushion, point of agreement, get clarity. All those that's automatic. It's just automatic. It's in her subconscious. The other thing that she's doing, notice the tone in her voice. Remember, the tone in her voice and her body language speaks louder than the words we say.
Oh, yeah.
So notice she's saying, you can say, well, why do you say that? Or you can say, well, I'm really curious, why do you say that? The tone of the voice means a lot. So.
Absolutely, thanks. And last one is deny.
Okay. Macy, there is no, I'm so proud of you for all this stuff. I just cannot afford guide culture.
Kat, I totally get it. I really make sure I'm investing in the right thing also. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you feel like you can't afford it?
I mean, there's just no way. I mean, I can't do that right now. I can't.
Yeah, tell me, Kate, if you don't mind me asking, what makes you feel like you just can't do it?
Well, I mean, we haven't put in the budget. I would just have to put aside so much money, and it just wouldn't be able to be right now.
Well, Kat, I've known you a long time, and I know your husband, Carl, and I know that that is just not true. You are able to afford what you find value in. You are a high-level entrepreneur. You are already investing in your business. I see you do that, and guide culture is the skill that is going to take you to the next level. So, and I know that that's what you want, isn't it, to get to the next level?
Yeah, it is.
Great. In your opinion, if you were to move forward, would you want to do a payment plan or just pay in full?
I guess we'll do the payment plan.
Cool.
That was the trial close right there. She just did. Sorry. So what was I going to say there?
Denied. I denied.
Yeah, you denied. It's the tough love thing.
Yeah.
You don't always deny, but if you know, sometimes we are the counselor. They're looking for us for leadership and guidance. They want us to be the expert and in control. And sometimes it's appropriate to use the tough love if you're in that position, if you've built that rapport enough to where they trust you that way.
Yeah. All right, Lloyd's going to take us through some final thoughts, and then we are going to get to practicing.
Yes, final thoughts. Final thoughts. You're going to get doubts, uncertainty, objections, and that's good. That means they're showing interest. Those are buying signals. And we look for buying signals. We talk about it like that in the course. We always cushion. We're getting on their team. We're their friend. We're not their adversary. As a matter of fact, if I go to a meeting, I'll try to sit on the same side of the table. I don't even want to sit across the table with people. I'm their friend. I'm not their adversary. And always determine how you're going to handle it. And this does become part of the subconscious. The way we do the training, we run you through it. So it needs to be subconscious, all these things that we're doing. If you're trying to think through it, it's not going to work. That's why the fundamentals, the practice, the skills, the reps, and it becomes just automatic for you. That's when it starts really working. So then you learn how to handle the reverse, explain, or however you're going to do it. And be willing to take no many times, at least 7 times, in the customer's interest. If it's something the customer needs, and we know they need it, and it's in their best interest, we're taking it for the team. We're taking no many times. We're getting through these objections in their interest. And they can be big or small, and you can't let them blow up on you. Any small thing left in the back of their mind can blow up. You got to get them out. Get them in the open so they'll die away like those mushrooms. And when you're building your case, think about, remember, one of the times that we handle the doubts is before the doubt comes up. So if you know it's going to be there, like the fees or something, then you build your case around building the value of why those fees are where they are. Because we have to build the value above the cost. That's our job. And don't use certain words. Now, if you'll notice something else I want to say, we're also work really hard in our training to get rid of the filler words. And so if you notice, Macy didn't use any filler words. She's pretty poised in the way she's speaking. But some of these words we do not use are combative words. But, however, although, you know, those are combative words, that gets you on the opposite side of the table. We don't want to be there. We want to be on the same side of the table. So what we do, instead of saying those words, we just pause, because pause is our friend, and just start a new sentence in a professional way.
Awesome. All right, we're going to start practicing.
Okay, now we're going to do some practice. It's your time. And we're going to have some people maybe come up here and do it. And who wants to do one for the team? Have you guys been writing your doubts down? You've been practicing? You got your, does anyone have one ready? They want to come up here? You've got your piece of paper there. And actually, you can come up and make Macy work. Make Macy work through the doubt with you. She can role play.
It'll be fine.
We need a volunteer. Who wants to do it?
Come on.
Get on camera. Oh, I guess we go to pick people.
Yeah, we're going to pick people.
You want to be a? Yes, you do. If y'all have to both come up here though. Come on up, and we'll coach you through it.
Love it.
You're going to love it. Come on, Wes. What's your
And I'm Luke.
Luke?
Luke? So come on in, guys. You want to what? So should I? I'll just stay here. Okay, get in the camera. Where's the camera? All right. So who's going to handle the objection? Who's going to be the objectionor?
I'm going to be the objectionor and ask
Okay.
him the question.
All right, go for it.
Here we go.
So are your guys legal?
Yes, absolutely.
Hold on, Cushion. I understand.
I understand your concern. Yes,
I
absolutely.
too want to make sure I'm working. Point of Cushion, then point of agreement. Why do you ask?
Okay. Yeah, I understand. I too am interested to know that.
Yeah.
I guess. Why do you ask?
Specifically, why do you ask?
Well, I had somebody work on my house before, and they stole from us.
I understand your concern.
I too want to make sure I'm.
Yeah,
working with
I too want to
reputable
make sure we're working with reputable people. And
people. No, that's good. Stop right there. Then go. Let me explain. We vet out all of our employees, and what that means to you is you can feel confident that you're going to have someone in there that has utmost trust. And the real value is you're going to get a job done fair and on time with good people. Now that's what you want, isn't it?
That's what I want. You want to get me back?
Let me try. Let me explain.
All right, let's do it again. Okay, you do it.
You
now.
can get me back if you want.
trying to think of a good one. Okay. I got your estimate. Why are your prices so high?
Well, your answer should be because we're simply the best. No. Well, I would just say that,
I understand. I too.
yeah, I don't know who came and did your other estimates.
Hold on. Let's become his
Okay.
friend.
All right.
I understand.
I understand your concern.
There you go.
I haven't seen your other estimates, and I'm not sure if they're using the best products or if they included all the carpentry that needs to be done or not. But if you would like me to go over the other estimates with ours, I'll be glad to.
Hold on. What if we built the report? I understand. I too want to make sure I have a fair price. Let me ask, why do you think our price is out of line to your competitor, to our competitor?
Because it was more expensive than my two other estimates from other reputable companies.
Okay? Why is it more expensive? Tell me.
because we're licensed,
Okay, there we go.
we're insured,
Okay,
we're state, we have a state contractor's license, which isn't required for painting, but we have it.
okay.
And so, you know, we have what we believe are
Yeah.
the best guys, and I'm a local guy, you're gonna have my cell phone, and
Yeah.
if,
All right, so that's good. So now that you've told some facts there, now, and say this, and what that means to you, why is that important to him? Why does it matter to him? Why
Well,
should that matter to him?
it matters to you, because we're not going anywhere. If you need me,
No, not we. What matters to you, because you can enjoy a contractor that will be here for you. Remember, you. Get the I out of it, put you in it.
okay. Now I gotta not say I or we.
Right, you gotta go you.
Here we
Turn
go.
it to where it says you.
Well, it's important for you to know.
There you go.
Well, then I'm gonna go back to we're here.
No, you will enjoy a contractor
You're
that
gonna-
is here for the long haul.
Yeah, you'll enjoy a local contractor that's here for the long haul.
And then say, now, that's what you want, isn't it?
That's what you want, isn't it?
Absolutely. You're hired. Yeah.
Good job. That was great, guys. That was great.
Let's get another one. If we
Let's do another one. That's fun.
What are you selling, Laura? Real estate. Come on. Come on.
It's the mask for me.
Yeah, go dogs.
Hey, by the way, say, guys, thank you because what happens, we put you in what we call the warm seat. You got up here and you took all that information from me and you did it with a great attitude and you grew from it. And the biggest thing is everybody grew from that. So you did that for the group and we appreciate that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good job. What are kind of the most concerns you get, Laura?
Now's not a good time,
Mhm.
or
That's a good one.
yeah, or
Okay.
can't afford it.
All right, perfect. Laura, I know the market is really hot right now. I just like the timing of selling my house and then having to find a new house. I know it's just so hard to because it's really hot, right? So you sell your house really fast, but then you got to go find a house really fast. It just seems like a crazy time to be selling.
I understand.
I understand.
I too.
I too
Want to make sure I'm making a smart decision.
Right?
well, can I do it like for my industry?
Sure.
I too want to help walk you through this process so that I can help answer any questions about your concerns and
Okay, let's start over. Okay, because what we do, we say, I understand, boom, quick. All you're trying to do is get a quick cushion, that's
Okay.
all. And then you want a quick point of agreement, a quick one, like, I too want to make sure, blah, blah, blah. You don't want to make that long, because we don't talk much about I.
We
just
talk
wanna
about
get-
me.
The only purpose of that whole thing is to become her friend, that's all you're doing.
Okay.
And then you want to get more information. Why do you say that?
You want me to talk.
Specifically, why do you say
Yeah.
that?
So start over there. I understand.
I understand. I too want to help you through this process. So what are your concerns?
Yeah, well, I have kids, and just to like root them up, and we just started school. It just seems, I understand that it is a good time, but I just can't imagine just rooting my family up, just doing all that.
Say,
I understand.
You can't do.
It is a process.
I also want my family to be comfortable.
you want a point of agreement.
I also want your family,
My family.
I also want your family
Okay.
to feel comfortable through the process.
Mhm.
Okay, and now, are you ready to handle this, or do you want more information? Because I'm thinking, how would I handle that? How would you, what's your reasoning to solve the family uprooted thing? Is
Or
like
just the chaos.
the chaos.
Without it saying me, I mean, my practice would say, I would say, I can help set you up with your family so it cannot be so stressful for you.
So all you gotta say is, if you could get set up with your family, would not be, is that something that you
That would
would
help.
feel more comfortable with? Just turn the I to you, just turn it so you can say you.
If I can help you.
If you could.
If you could,
If you could,
There you go.
get your family set up where it would be less chaotic, or is that something you're willing to do?
Yeah,
There you
I mean, if
go.
you offer something like staging, or you offer just things that could help me out, that would be really helpful.
boom, now you ready to start?
Do you have some?
A point would be, do y'all do staging?
We do. We do staging. We can help you walk through, but I'm saying we.
Yeah.
I know, where you, it's a habit, you're
Yeah.
gonna subconsciously learn to say you.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a subconscious.
You'll have staging.
We have staged.
You will,
Wait.
Through our company offers stages, and that means that you will blah, 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 you.
Our company offers staging, so you will feel more comfortable through the process.
beautiful.
Is that something that would make you feel, just keep saying you?
Is that something that would make you feel more comfortable?
That would help me a lot. And you would be like in my phone, and I could call you if I needed help or anything like that.
24/7.
Awesome.
You will have access to me
Awesome.
whenever you need me.
Awesome.
Good.
That was good.
You've got it turned around already, that quick.
That was awesome. How'd that feel?
Now, in your opinion, do you feel like the U's start making it a little bit smoother? More, I mean, do y'all see the difference between saying I and you
The cushion,
and the
yeah.
cushion and all that?
Y'all are going to walk out of here and realize how many people talk about themselves. And you're going to have a leg up and be able just to say you, and be the most memorable person out of this conference.
As a matter of fact, in our last session, we have like 4 sessions, and I'll talk about it in a second. In the first week lab, it's where we do the role play afterwards. We said, hey, so what'd you learn this week after session 1? And we've had multiple people say this. She said, I had no idea how much people talked about themselves. She started noticing it.
Good
Thank
job,
you.
Laura. Good job. All right, let's do one more. You're fine. Oh, yeah, we have time.
Well, we need to talk the final.
Oh, yeah, Q&A. You want to
Do we have any Q&A? Anybody want to have any questions, or would you rather see another role play?
In your opinion?
No questions? What was like the biggest takeaway?
How many people talk about themselves?
Yeah?
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Good comment.
It's really good. Yeah, Philip?
Do you guys do any work with prospecting or finding prospects?
We do, but let's face it, you have marketing and you have sales.
Yeah,
Different.
And marketing
It's totally different.
is shock. You got to find, you got to do the effort. Marketing. Yeah, we talk about it. We talk a lot about, like, step 1 is get attention, and then step 2 is unleash curiosity, and we teach you how to gain attention and get people curious to move to the next step.
Does everyone see marketing as prospecting? Do you see marketing as prospecting? The reason I ask is because oftentimes people will put out marketing, posts on social media. I got to get on Facebook. I got to do all this. And truthfully, what we have found and what our students have found is that if the sales message isn't right within the marketing, then people simply feel like you're talking about yourself still. So really having that you-centered message and what they're going to get and what's the real value of that for them within the marketing really helps prospect on a grand scale. And then again, this building rapport, like at this conference, if you don't ask for, hey, what's the story behind why you're here?
Yeah.
Then you'll never even get to the bottom of why they're a good or bad prospect. So I would say,
Great point.
yes, we're prospecting. No, we don't teach you how to, put in pipeline funnel necessarily.
Now, we have a lot of funnels. We have a lot of pipelines. We have a lot of Instagram. We market like crazy, but we're using the sales message through all of our marketing.
Everything.
We're getting attention. We're unleashing care. We're building value. We're creating dream big. We're doing trial closes through the whole marketing process. So we do a lot of different things, but the message is consistent.
Right.
And we teach you how to deliver your message. And the marketing is one of these things. Well, the sales method and all this is time tested, hundreds of years. It doesn't change what we teach. The marketing changes like science. It changes, you have Facebook, then you have Instagram, then you have TikTok. It's changing all the time. But the time tested message never changes.
Right.
Even with your kids, with your family, everywhere, it's the same message, same method. Now, this is an example. This is our workbook. And what we do is if you take the course, we have in-person and online. Right now, it's been mostly online. We'll be back in person hopefully next year.
Yep.
But we mail you the book, and we go through this as 4 weeks, 4 Zoom call weeks right now with training. And then after you go through a week of training, then we have about a 10-person call with a coach, and we do role play and reps, and we practice like those fundamentals that Tom Brady does. We get it into your subconscious. Say you, say you, say you. We kind of get you talking like that. We try to help you get rid of the filler words. We teach you how to build the value, and we coach you and say, was that real value? Is that really what you're trying to say? And then we do that 4 different times through this book. And many people will come back for repeats because they see so much value, they repeat it. Now, here, if you want to pick on the back of this card that's on your desk, you can do the QR code and get our podcast. So you start listening to some of our podcasts. We do a lot of marketing just talking about this through podcasts.
Yeah, there's actually a specific Handling Doubts podcast that is going to have a lot of this information that you can re-listen to and get those reps in. And in terms of sales training, how many of you have internal sales training? I'm curious. You do? Yeah. A lot of times we'll go to companies with internal sales training, but what we find is that the people who do those sales training, they're not really passionate about it. They don't dedicate their lives to it like we do. Probably one of the best things you can do is delegate sales training to somebody who lives, eats, breathes, and sleeps sales, and we have a whole team that does just that. So a great way to find us. Oh, also, if you want all the slides, all the information that we talked about today, you can text Stronger Sales to that phone number, and we will send them all to you. And you can find us on Instagram at The Guide Culture.